Lead Quilt Show member BKLYNMIKE, aka Michael Michalski, a resident of Brooklyn since 1988 and quilting almost as long. Michael does wardrobe for Broadway musicals and runs marathons to relieve stress. He discovered the Quilt Show when another TQS member, Steven613, bought him a Charter Star membership as a thank you for helping him learn to quilt. He loves the quilt shows and the humor and enjoys the passion he sees evident in the different way people express themselves through quilting. Michael originally began sewing in high school in order to decorate his room. In college, he majored in chemistry and took scenic design as an elective. After working on both Chem Labs and theater costuming, he decided chemistry was not the career for him and went to grad school for historical dressmaking. He began quilting after visiting the Pure Quilt Show, where he bought a few fat quarters and was hooked. Because of his math and science background, Michael is drawn to complex geometry and things in series. His interest lies in the interesting shapes and patterns found in architecture, and he's a big fan of the arts and crafts movement. Many artists have inspired him, from Frank Lloyd Wright and Erte to Karen Stone, Michael James, and our own Ricky Timms. Michael has worked on many Broadway shows and continues to enjoy the moments when Liza Minnelli stops by to visit Ben Vereen, and when working at the Tonys, he can see anyone who is anyone in the theater. There may be moments of chaos when parts don't work or someone gets sick, but those are rare. And on routine nights, he actually gets a chance to quilt during his breaks. One of his favorite shows was a revival of 42nd Street, where he was able to work on beautifully beaded costumes. Because there were so many quick changes, he wasn't always sure the costumes would make it to the end of the show. When asked if he used any costuming techniques in his quilting, he replied, "I don't think there are any traditional sewing techniques the quilting world has yet to use, but I do try to add three-dimensional elements." Michael is also quite convinced that foundation paper piecing is the way to go when putting together his complicated architectural designs. Michael does raffle quilts for his union's political action committee. He is currently the designer and project manager for the quilts. While he originally made the first one by himself, he now finds collaborators to help him get the job done. He looks for inspiration everywhere. His quilt, Broadway Modern, was inspired by a co-worker's tattoo. New York Deco was inspired by the architecture of New York City, the Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building, and the Daily News building floor. He loves the colors of the copper patina. He hopes to recreate the quilt for himself one day. Michael's latest quilt will be seen at Quilt Festival Houston this year, as he was the winner of the Avalon Project Linus Comfort Kids Quilt Contest. It is the first contest he has ever entered. Currently, he is working on ideas for next year's raffle quilt and possibly an entry into an AQS quilt contest. He takes a quilting design class and spends an hour every night working at Electric Quilt. He also teaches quilting at Brooklyn Mercantile. Michael loves the quilts in the Quilt Show Gallery and is happy to be embraced by the World Quilt community. Thank you, Michael.